welcome aboard. You are here for Real Resilience, the survival of Chicago movie theaters in 1918. So if you're new here, I'm Kelly. I run Chicago Movie Tours. My goal is simple. It is that right there, to help you discover Chicago and the suburbs of this fine city through film. So if you're interested in other film and Chicago-related events, check out chicagomovietours.com after this virtual tour, or follow along on social media at Shy Movie Tours. So this is a relatively lengthier virtual tour than I do. So we are going to actually split this one into 3 segments here. So first we are going to get a background, a quick background on the 1918 flu, including why it is often referred to as the Spanish flu. And then our second segment is going to look at the exterior of 3 silent era Chicago movie theaters that were forced to close during the 1918 pandemic. And then finally, part 3, we will talk about the pandemic's effect on those movie houses as well as other movie houses in the Chicago area. And we'll talk about the effect of that in terms of their finances, in terms of patriotism at the time, and some friction with the government. All right, so those are our 3 goals. Let's go ahead and start with a background on the 1918 flu. So according to the CDC, the 1918 influenza pandemic is still considered the most severe pandemic in recent history. So with that in mind, let's look at some figures here, and we'll compare what it was like in 1918 with some of the figures that we just experienced over the last 3 or 4 years. So in 1918, you are dealing with no effective drugs, no vaccines that were available to treat this strain of the flu. Secondly, about 500 million people across the entire globe were infected with the flu at this time. That is about 1/3 of the population of the world. So 50 million people worldwide died in the 1918 flu pandemic, including 675,000 here in the US. So if you look at that number directly at the bottom of the screen, you'll see the US population at the time, which was 103.2 million. In today's population is 339 million. So we are dealing with considerably different numbers in terms of the population of the United States, in terms of death, I mean. Let us compare these numbers on the left-hand side of your screen to COVID numbers this week, August 2023. So obviously now in 2023, and even before that, we have a vaccine for this strain of COVID. We also have multiple boosters, of course, as well as a pill called Paxlovid that treats these milder cases of COVID-19, mostly in adults, to prevent hospitalization and death. So significant difference there in our first bullet point.